The Storm Gathers. An introduction to global conflict and new ways of war. World War II was a massive war. It started in 1939 and ended in 1945. Many countries were involved. Millions lost their lives. The war changed the world. It redrew maps and shifted power. New technologies appeared. These tools had a huge impact. Understanding this conflict is important. The ways of fighting were different. Generals tried new tactics. One famous tactic was blitzkrieg. Fast, surprise attacks with tanks and planes. Effective in early years, tanks were key, strong, running on tracks. Early tanks showed potential. Tanks became important. Spearhead of attacks. Ended static trench warfare. New ways to stop tanks. Steel Titans and Winged Warriors. The rise of tanks and air power. As the war went on, tanks got much better. Engineers worked hard to improve them. They became bigger and stronger. Their guns became more powerful. Their armor became much thicker. Famous tanks appeared, like the Soviet T-34 and the German Tiger tank. The Americans built many Sherman tanks. These machines were vital on the battlefield. Tank battles became common and very fierce. The side with better tanks often had an advantage. Tanks were crucial in places like North Africa and on the vast Eastern Front in Russia. Airplanes also became incredibly important in World War II. At the start of the war, air power was still developing. Fighter planes were fast and agile, shooting down enemy planes and protecting bombers. Bomber planes carried bombs to drop on targets like factories, cities, or enemy troops. Aerial warfare changed everything. The Battle of Britain in 1940 was a key moment. German planes tried to defeat the British Royal Air Force, but the British pilots fought bravely, stopping the German air attacks. This showed that controlling the sky was vital. Without air superiority, it was hard to win on land or sea. The roar of guns and waves of steel, artillery, bombs, and naval might. Artillery guns were big cannons used in the war. They could shoot heavy shells over long distances. These shells exploded with great force. Artillery was used to support the soldiers on the ground. It could destroy enemy defenses before an attack. It could also break up enemy attacks. Bombs dropped from airplanes also changed warfare. Early in the war, bombing was not always accurate, but as technology improved, bombers could hit targets better. Strategic bombing became a major tactic. This meant bombing important targets deep in enemy territory. The aim was to cripple the enemy's ability to fight. The Navy was also essential in World War II. Countries needed to control the sea routes to move soldiers and transport vital supplies. Naval battles were fought to gain this control. Aircraft carriers became the most important naval ships. These were like floating airfields, allowing planes to take off and land on their decks. Battleships, with their huge guns, were still used, but aircraft carriers changed naval tactics forever. Major battles like Midway in the Pacific Ocean were decided by planes from carriers. Submarines also played a big role, sinking enemy ships secretly. The war at sea was a long and hard struggle. The boots on the ground and the war's conclusion, infantry and combined arms. Even with all the new machines, infantry soldiers were vital. These were the ordinary soldiers who fought on foot. They were the backbone of every army. Tanks and planes could help them, and artillery could support them. But it was often the infantry who had to take the ground and hold it against enemy attacks. They faced terrible dangers every day, from bullets, shells, and mines. Their courage and endurance were incredible. Infantry soldiers used many different weapons. They had rifles, machine guns, and grenades. They learned to fight in cities and in the countryside. They dug trenches and foxholes for protection. Life as an infantryman was extremely tough. They needed good training and strong leaders. Without brave infantry, no army could win the war. All these different parts of the military had to work together, called combined arms. Tanks needed infantry to protect them from enemy soldiers. Infantry needed tanks to break through strong defenses. Both needed airplanes to protect them from enemy air attacks and to attack enemy targets from above. When all these elements worked together well, armies were much more effective. This coordination was a key to success.